To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por
We
favor,
invite you, if
manténganse
you
alejados
dare,
de las
to
This here's
visit
a
tonight's
wild
episode
ride
of
in the
Twist
wilderness.
When in this elevated travel
Dawn is changing.
Hello and welcome to Miles from Main Street, your Far From Disney podcast. My name is Mikhailo,
And I'm Brian,
and we're here to talk about Disney World,
but especially coping away from Disney.
which we know a lot about being from the Midwest.
So today on Miles from Main Street, it's Brian talking and not Mikhailo. That's new and interesting. But we're also joined by Amanda and Albert Aslin, who recently got to go to Disney World on their pass holder preview of Ratatouille's, wait a minute, I got that wrong, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. There we go. So welcome, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So we'll get you started like we normally do. And why don't you give us, your background with Disney and why you go to Disney and all that good stuff.
So I guess for me, I go to Disney mostly because I moved to Florida and I like theme parks and it's right there. And it's a nice theme park to go to. Like it's a good family environment. We've got two small girls. And so it's the perfect size rides, the perfect level of adventure for our girls. And they always have, these really fun kind of seasonal events that go on, the food and wine, the flower garden show, Mickey's Boo and the holiday things. We like watching the parks change with the seasons. We love watching the tourists.
You can go there 20 times a year and it's always something different. That's the biggest draw, unlike some other parks where it's the same 10 things over and over again. So
Cool, yeah, I like that. It's funny, the last podcast we just talked about is what it would be like to be close to the parks. And it's cool to kind of talk to somebody and get that insight about why, like what kind of keeps you coming back. And so that's very cool. I have been to the parks during Christmas, but I've never been during Halloween. And that's always been something I've wanted to do, is see the park change with those Halloween decorations.
They do a really nice job with the Halloween decorations. We'll actually be at Magic Kingdom for the 50th and for the Halloween vibe next month.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm super jealous.
We go
I
a
think
lot.
we all are.
that's the advantage. And we have an RV, so we can go down there, either stay on property or nearby in a campground, so we can make a weekend out of it. It's well worth the trip down there, so we don't have to fight traffic on the way back.
So we wanted to make this episode because it's pretty relevant that you guys actually got to go on Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, but also you mentioned that you're pass holders. Do you want to kind of explain, I'm guessing you guys have the in-state, I almost said in-state tuition, but the in-state package or whatever for annual pass holders?
Right. We have the Florida residents. It's currently a silver package. However, Disney just this month changed their package.
Which was kind of a surprise.
But we have blackouts for holidays and the summer. But
right now,
the new package, which is a little bit more expensive per year, however, we'll only have like 2 weeks out of the year where we can't go to Disney anymore. So they've kind of upgraded their options.
Yeah. And a little disappointed at their communication about it, because they really didn't tell the annual pass holders that it was coming. I actually found out from Brian.
Sorry.
No. Actually, that worked out just fine for us, because we had to get on the phone and talk to pass holder services. And let me tell you, their fairy godmothers are impressive.
The size of their wand they took care of us. So we were off, one of our child was off by 6 months, different than our renewal dates.
Mhm.
So we explained to them the reason why, and they went to a couple levels up, got their big magic wand out, and extended that pass holder to our current one. So we basically we got 6 months free to Disney.
For one of our
Wow.
daughters. Yeah, we're in the process of adopting our youngest daughter. And so that's how she ended up on a different schedule from us. She joined our family at a time where we weren't all renewing, but we went and got the pass. And when this happened, when I found out from Brian, I was like, oh God, this is going to happen every year now, because Disney used to do their pass renewals in January, but since COVID kind of altered everybody's life and schedule, they did their pass renewal changes this year in September. So that was kind of what got us calling and going, do something, please help us, because it's going to be really awkward if one member of our family can't go when everybody else can go, or
Mhm.
one member of our family can go all summer or all winter, but the rest of us can't. Like, please.
Right. I mean, and we were willing to pay the difference, but they were, as Disney does from time to time, they granted us that bonus that make that a magical experience.
Awesome. Yeah, that's so good to hear. Because I feel like, not that like everybody's been kind of getting down with Disney with like Chapek and all of the changes that he's making, but that's always good to hear that these cast members and the Disney company can kind of come through and make everything a lot better. But just so that I'm wrapping, because I mean I don't deal with annual passes at all, but just so that I'm wrapping my head around it, you guys went to renew your annual passes, and the tiered system or whatever changed, so you guys went up a tier or something like that.
So only one member of our family was up for renewal in the next 30 days, our youngest.
Mhm.
And we're planning on renewing at the higher level, but the rest of us, because of the pandemic, last year Disney pushed out all the renewals, the number of months that they were closed, regardless of the pass type you had. So our renewal dates got shifted as a result of the pandemic. And so when we renew in the spring, we'll be renewing at the higher level, which means when Brian is able to convince his significant other to come visit us again, we'll be able to go no matter what.
Yeah, because this last trip that we were on was spring break and they were blacked out. So it was still great that you came over for the day and we got to hang out at the Contemporary and had a good time anyway. But we weren't able to go into the parks with you. So
Yeah, we're not Disney enough where we hang out a lot at the resort. So it was fun for us to kind of see the resort with the camper and being so close. It's only an hour and a half for us to drive. So
Nice.
it's
Cool.
it's
Well,
an
yeah, that's good to hear that you guys had a positive experience with the annual passes, just with hearing everything else that's happening with these annual passes. But so I've also heard from a little birdie that you guys got to ride a certain ride.
We did. We got to ride Ratatouille, Remys Ratatouille, yesterday evening. We took the girls after school. So back in August or July, they sent out the invite to all the pass holders, and getting the invite doesn't always mean that you'll actually get to do the preview, because those preview spots, they get filled really fast. But we were lucky this time that we were able to jump on it fast enough and get a reservation. And
seems like they're doing it for quite a while here.
it's about a month. Yeah.
Yeah, October 1st is the actual opening to the public. So it's in Paris. It's behind the Eiffel Tower. So they had it blocked off with army of cast members because as we were going in like high class, there were some people being shooed away because they weren't pass holders. But as soon as we went through the barricade, you could see the
creperie.
creperie. Thank you. My brain stopped for a minute. So the creperie is back there too as well. And then of course they had some Remy trinkets. We could talk about that after the ride.
Yeah, the Remy merch is pretty cute.
So what do you think of the addition to the France Pavilion? Was it a good addition that they made, or?
I think they could have made a little bit more use of the space. It's a fairly open area. Right now they've got it, really kind of blocked off. So there's like bushes and things, movable trolleys of like faux bushes to kind of slow you down and control entry. And it's got a nice, having been to France, having been to Paris, it's got a nice Parisian kind of park feel to it in the area. But the only things that were added, like actually added to the Paris Pavilion, the France Pavilion, is the ride itself and the creperie. The creperie's got an outdoor quick food option, and then it's got a sit down option.
Okay, so you head in. Tell us about the entrance. The queue. How'd that go?
The entrance to the ride?
Yeah.
So
It's got a small outdoor queue, and then you go right in. It was a 10-minute wait for us, probably because of the line was small. But the actual waiting line is pretty small compared to most rides.
yeah, it does not have a long queue line. Like if you think about Flight of the Avatar, you can be inside the caves there for an hour. I don't know how you would ever spend that much time actually inside the queue. The entrance to the queue, and I sent you some pictures, it looks like a movie theater marquee almost. So it's got like 2 ticket booths and turnstiles, and I think we were probably in the fast track lane, which isn't going to be fast track, it's going to be Genie Plus, but whatever. I think we went through the fast track lane as pass holders. I don't think, because I think there was another queue off to the side that they weren't using.
Okay.
I think that I don't know. I think that was the real line. I think I read something, and you guys can correct me because you are more knowledgeable, but I read something where it's going to have to go in a queue before you can go into a line. You're going to have to use your app to get in line ahead of time.
Yes, that they are doing a virtual queue, just like they've been doing with Rise of the Resistance.
Right.
So maybe.
I think that's why that line queue is shorter.
Or maybe the virtual queue is necessary because of that as well.
So I've ridden both of those rides now, both the Remy and the Rise of the Resistance. Also another phenomenal ride. The queue for the Rise of the Resistance, once you've made it to the actual queue, is longer than the Remy's queue.
Okay.
It is. But it's got some, you spend part of it outside between the ride and the creperie. So that's hard to resist crepes because you can smell them. And then you get into there, like I said, it's kind of like a movie theater marquee, and you go through like an artist den. And we couldn't find any hidden Mickeys. We were looking so hard. We were looking so hard for the hidden Mickeys. We didn't spot any, but maybe we will on another ride. You go through there, and then you kind of come out into what looks like a darkened Parisian street with Gusteau's marquee in front of you. And he comes on every couple of minutes, and he'll talk to you in either English or French and tell you about how you're going to enjoy the meal, and it's the best food and food from the heart and all this.
That's awesome.
Then after you go, actually, I guess the artist den is after Gusteau's. Then from the artist den, it's just a little ways away. The ride is like right there.
Okay.
It's got 2 lineups, 2 entry points. So when you get up there and they ask how many people are in your party, they'll send you either straight ahead or to your left, and they're boarding 3 mice at a time. Each mouse holds 6 people. And so it alternates between the straight ahead and the left lane, and the mice board up, the little safety bar comes down, and your mouse is autonomous. So it's a lot like the Rise of the Resistance, the new Mickey ride at Hollywood Studios as well, like with a trackless 4D VR experience. Like it's virtual reality.
And the front seat is a little bit lower, or the back seat is a little higher, so you kind of tier it as well. So you're not getting
Cool.
getting in it impeded by heads. This one thing I did notice is if you could try for the middle mouse, doesn't make a big difference, but in one of the rooms, the middle mouse was a little bit further closer to the screen, so you might get the complete encompass.
Well, and I was talking to somebody else while I was waiting. He took the girls to ride another ride while I waited for adult beverages at the Mexican pavilion. I was talking to somebody in line there who had ridden it a couple of times earlier that day, and they had ridden the 2 outside mice, so the first and the last mouse, and they had said that they noticed that the experience is slightly different depending on which mouse you're in. So you're getting a virtual reality view from a mouse's perspective, like you are running around Gusteau's from the mouse's perspective. And what you see is slightly altered by which mouse you end up in.
Okay.
It's a good mix between prop scenery and actual VFR or the screens.
Yeah, that's cool. Because that's actually kind of the same thing with Mickey's Runaway Railway, where there's like a couple different. I thought there was a couple different not timelines, but like, in each section that you're in, like you kind of follow somebody different. Like there's a Pluto line, and then there's like a Mickey Minnie line or something like that. And so it sounds like that's something that they've been doing with these rides, where when they have the autonomous vehicles, you kind of experience something different in each one.
Yeah, we were really hoping we would get to ride it a second time and get a different viewpoint, but unfortunately, part of the reason they open it to the pass holders for that soft open is to work out the kinks, and it was having some kinks yesterday.
It went down in the morning time, we were told, and it went down when we were in line, and they couldn't tell us how long it was going to be, so we stepped out.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't already ridden it. I wasn't going to wait around, but they're getting the kinks out. I don't know. They couldn't tell us. They wouldn't tell us why, but
It's really, and I say this because I wear glasses. I wear glasses all the time, and I know sometimes with the VFR that's really a challenge because the glasses they give you don't fit very well over that. But as somebody who wears glasses, like, the virtual reality experience was really good. At one point, I got motion sick just a little bit because I really felt like I was scrambling through the vent work as a mouse.
yeah, the
That's pretty
vehicle,
cool.
whatever they've done with the vehicle, it definitely gives you up, down, right, left, and
Vibrations.
and you do lose track. You're not even moving physically, but you feel like you are all over that building. It was quite an experience. Honestly, it was quite an experience. Not to the level of Avatar, but I mean, it was a worthwhile ride. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The girls, 2 thumbs up.
I actually think it's as good as Avatar. I think it's a
Wow.
different kind. I would totally. It's going to be on my, must hit list if the line's not insane. I think it's worth the wait. And since it's a virtual queue, I've gotten virtual queuing down cold thanks to Rise of the Resistance. But I thought it was actually as good. It's a different kind of good. Like, this is a ride you can take your young kids on, or older people who are, maybe a little more insecure about the ride device that they use in Flight of the Avatar. There's no limitations to who could really sit in the mouse and experience this, and the experience, I think, is easily just as good. I don't know if you want us to give you spoilers about like the storyline of the ride or how the ride actually progresses, but we can if you want us to.
I mean, this is already. I'm already finding out too much, but but I'll take one for the team for the podcast content. I said it on the podcast before, but I don't like to watch. Like, I haven't watched Ride-Throughs yet. I think at one point, Tim Tracker, I was watching an episode, and that's what they were doing was it might not have been Tim Tracker, but they were walking up to it, and I was like, oh nope, turning this off now. But yeah, I try not to watch Ride-Throughs until I actually experience it. And the only one I actually did watch was Mickey's Runaway Railway. But the tech on that is just insane. So I'm guessing it's going to be pretty similar to the tech that they're using in Remy's Ratatouille Adventure.
I considered doing a ride through for Brian and filming it and sending it to him as we were doing it. Because I know Brian always wants a little taste of Disney.
And I'm like you. I like to ignore and I want to be first experience, first time. I close my ears and I just totally black out the world when it comes to those spoilers. So I'm on your side where I would say it was a good ride, and I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone.
I realized really quickly that if I tried to video it, it would just not do it justice because the video wasn't going to have the VR glasses. The main gist of it is it basically takes you through the entire storyline of Ratatouille. So from the beginning where Remy, finds himself in the restaurant with a lot of his buddies, and I forget the name of the little chef who's always so angry, but the little chef is basically chasing you through the ride or spotting you and trying to shoo you off because of the restaurant's reputation. So it really follows the storyline of the movie, I thought, really well without being the movie. It's a slightly different experience, but if you've seen the movie, you can summarize the movie's experience in a 4-minute ride, then there you go. That's basically the experiences that they're giving you. But like I said, it's a full 4D experience. The mouse shakes, the mouse tilts, the mouse is up, the mouse is down. You'll feel hot, you'll feel cold, you'll feel wet.
And Mikhailo, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Imagineering story, they had some Imagineers talking about that exact thing, that they watched that movie and was like, we need to get people to feel like a rat going through the ride. Like that was the whole idea behind it. So you've basically told us they
exceeded their expectations. You literally feel from that perception. Everything is from the floor, the mouse perception. It is.
It's all scaled to that. Within 30 seconds of entering the ride, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm a mouse. Okay.
Like to the point, if I could ride it a second time, I may ride it without the glasses to look at the actual physical scenery.
Okay.
Like,
and so,
yeah.
Did you feel that the scenery was distorted then with the glasses on?
No, I mean, the scenery is there and it wasn't distorted. It was clear. But I'm saying just so I can focus on that because I like to see it kind of like behind the scenes. But
it was part of the story too. Like you weren't just moving from room to room. Each room was setting up the story. And then you had a video virtual reality experience tied to that room that is drawn from the movie. Pun intended.
So like you said, like you were sitting in the ride vehicle and you said, "Oh, I'm the size of a mouse." Did you feel that at all in the queue before you got on the ride?
No.
No.
It's a
Okay.
surprise. Like if you're not listening to this or you haven't watched a ride through or read about one, you wouldn't know as you entered the ride.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like Disney does that often too, and I feel like listening to Imagineers talk, I can hear them saying exactly, "We're going to shrink you down to the size of a mouse." And they say that, like they do that with the Toy Story Midway Mania, where they shrink you down to the size of a toy. And I feel that same way as I walk into the queue. Well, it's not even the queue. Well, yeah, it is the queue because you're the size of a toy there. But one of the coolest things when I walk into that room is like you can see the side of Andy's bed and stuff like that. So I'm guessing it's pretty similar to something like that.
Example, you can see a cart wheel, like you're not a cot wheel, but my Boston's coming out.
I was gonna say I definitely heard that.
Yeah. As an example, and it's would be full size if you were a mouse.
Mhm.
So then you guys finished the ride.
Yeah.
And what was next? What did you get to do then?
So, well, I'd been smelling crepes, so we went to the creperie. Yes, it was pretty good. A teeny bit disappointing, because we realized as we were ordering the crepes that they have pre-made the crepe and they're just heating it. So I thought that was a little bit like that kind of upset me a little bit. I spent a lot of time in France and I've ordered crepes out of a window, and I mean they kind of replicated that feel of ordering a crepe out of a window, which is totally French. But then I was like, a crepe doesn't take that long to cook. You could just make it right there. So they were doing it on a proper crepe pan, and actually with proper crepe tools. So I don't know if it was just because it's the soft opening and maybe they haven't, really gone ahead and trained it. But I know a lot of times with the food and wine stuff that it's prepared off site and then heated and finished at the particular kiosk.
Flavor is still good. I had the chocolate on chocolate.
Yeah, he had the Nutella one and I had the berry one. We'd already eaten around the world, so we were looking for desserty kind of offerings.
We didn't get their cider because it was
Sold out.
So next time we have something to look forward to.
Yeah, even if we don't ride the ride, we've got to try the cider. But
So I had heard that they're trying to recreate like Brittany, France. So the ciders are brought in from Brittany, and
that's what they advertised.
Yeah. Okay. So they did tell you all that too, huh?
Yes, they did. As for the feel, it didn't look like Brittany to me, but it definitely looked Parisian. It had kind of elements of both. Like it wasn't a clear regional feel to me, but I'm not going to complain. Like that's parsing like small little things.
So as part of the preview, could you have gone into the sit down restaurant if you wanted, or?
Yeah, we could have gone in and sat down they have a prix meal, which is 3 courses with beverages, although the alcoholic beverages are of course additional. That includes a salad, a galette, which is the savory crepe, and then the sweet crepe for dessert. And they also have a la carte menu that you can order from at the sit down. So we stuck with the quick window because we'd already eaten.
So other than the reheating piece of it would you say they were good?
So they were. I have very high standards for my crepes. I was in France for a pretty long time. Like I said, I've ordered crepes out of some little grandma's window and had, fresh homemade crepes. My crepe standards are way up here. I think for most people it was a totally serviceable, like, theme park crepe. Funny story, we actually had crepes earlier in the week because I had a thing where I needed a crepe. Some friend of mine told me that Epcot was going to be selling crepes and I needed a crepe. And we ordered crepes earlier in the week that were just simply terrible. And those were they were terrible.
Not Disney.
Not Disney. And so and it was a restaurant that this is one of the things they do. Like, it's one of the things they're known for. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get me some crepes. I was so disappointed. So this was definitely not a disappointment. Did it whisk me back 25 years ago to when I was in France? Not exactly. But was I happy eating it? You betcha.
All right. So they did their job. I mean,
yeah.
Now, Albert, for the average layman, what did you think of the crepes?
Again, they were good. They served its purpose. Like I said, no, they were thin. They were thin. I think that they're going to work on it. I think they were Russian, but they had the flavor. They weren't doughy.
No.
They had enough filling. I know, obviously, the wife wanted more berries, but and it was a good portion size too. It wasn't your typical food and wine festival where you get this little pea-sized bit of food that's delicious. But I mean, this was a full plate of crepe. I mean, it was a single crepe, but it was, a small pizza kind of size, like eight inches.
Yeah, no. Oh no, bigger. It was a full-size crepe. Yeah, no.
They folded it over.
So crepes are usually around, using our horrible English system, they're almost a foot in diameter. Usually they're good sized pieces of food, and they're usually folded in. You put the filling in the center and then you fold it into quarters. A lot of times in France they'll serve it to you basically wrapped up in like a napkin, and you just walk around and eat it almost like an ice cream cone, for lack of a better way to describe it. They're serving them on a plate, but it is a full crepe, folded in fourths, just like you would expect, with all of the proper traditional fillings, all the fillings I would expect to see.
I did it again.
Welcome to Miles from Main Street. Today we're talking about crepes.
You've picked the wrong two people to talk about things.
And the food. we love a cup of food.
Oh, of course, yeah, as you should. A couple things that I've been seeing. Again, I try not to get any sneak peeks of the ride, but I have. I mean, just all over my Facebook is all Ratatouille stuff. I have seen the new kind of creature, shoulder creature, and now it's a rat that kind of like moves around your shirt. Did you guys see any of those?
I didn't see that. I saw the chef's hat. So there's a chef hat that is at the top of the hat. It pops open and Remy pops out. The only problem that it is very heavy.
Yeah, it's got a strap
because it's got a motor inside. I mean, it's awesome to look at, but it's heavy.
It was super cute. Yeah, we didn't see Remy. Where? And we went into some of the other shops, because they've currently got Mouse Gear kind of off in a desolate corner. Creations is about to open, and then they've got the Port gift shop right at the entrance to the World Showcase, and we went into that one too. I didn't see
No, I did not see those.
It might have been sold out. They were definitely having a run on merchandise. They were limiting the amount of merchandise you could purchase, and there was a lot of people walking around with Ratatouille merchandise.
Nice. Yeah, I know. I definitely saw. It's supposed to be kind of like the new shoulder character
Yeah.
that you can get. But it's kind of cool because it moves around your shirt, which I thought was interesting. And then I also saw that hat, which I thought was very cool. It doesn't seem like something I'd buy just because I'm particular about what's on my head while I'm in the parks, and I don't think that would be too enjoyable. However, I did see that it's $39.99, and for how cool that hat is, and knowing Disney prices, that's like reasonable for like how cool that hat is.
It was a pretty cute, like we have a collection of various things up on a ledge that we're looking at right now. And,
Oh yeah.
the child, the Millennium Falcon, some various collectibles, and he would be really cute right next to the child, in his little hat, just occasionally popping out. It's not something I would wear. I thought the ears that they introduced for this, those were really cute. So, your Mickey ears with Remy and a chef's hat in the center, that was really cute.
I mean, we are going back there on Saturday if you are implying to something there.
Now I have a mission. I've got to find this mouse that runs around your shirt.
Well, I know it had like a clear cover, like a serving tray would be covered, but it was a clear cover so you could see inside.
Okay, we did see it. We didn't realize that's what it was. We looked at it and we're like, it's Remy in a serving dish. I don't get it. And of course, we can't spend too much time looking at merchandise when the girls are there, because then they want it. But yeah, no, we did see it then. If it was in the clear serving dish, yes. I didn't see it in action. Nobody was walking around wearing it.
I have a feeling that after October 1st, they're going to be everywhere. It just seems like it's the next hot thing.
Oh yeah.
Well, now that I know what it is, I'm gonna have to go look at it a little bit more. I might not be able to look at it a little bit more closely.
I did see more video of the hat, and there's like a video screen almost that pops up as well. Did you see that part of it where there's like a shadow of Remy inside the hat pulling the hair, Linguini's hair, and then he pops out the top. So I thought that was really cool. It looked like a really neat thing. Again, I thought it would be best on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, I don't think it's very wearable, but it was super cute, and they were selling them left and right.
The material was good quality. It was sturdy. It was definitely sturdy. So for the price, yeah, you're right. It might be worth
well
picking up
priced.
Cool. So, all in all, did you have a good time? Would you recommend trying this ride out? And are you excited for it to drop in October?
Yeah, I think with the virtual queue, which really helps with the wait times on those rides, and just the quality of the ride. We're going back in October like I said, for the 50th. We'll be attempting to get into the virtual queue for it.
I mean, to the point, like we had finished the ride and we turned around and got right back in the line. Had it not broken, we would have gone back again. It was definitely where it's one of those rides where you could probably ride a dozen times and see something new.
Yeah, there's no way we saw all of it.
No way.
We actually stopped after the ride, and we were trying to recount to each other what we had seen and experienced, and we knew we were missing things.
That makes that makes it very re-rideable, which I know a lot of people talk about. So that's awesome. I have been comparing this in my head to Mickey and Minnie's, and I know we talked about it earlier. And I think that one has so much going on, it's almost an overload, but I still love the ride. So
there's
my
more
question, what's that?
There's more going on in Remy's Ratatouille.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
So would you say Mickey and Minnie's or Ratatouille?
I'd be Ratatouille. I've ridden, and maybe that's because I've ridden Mickey and Minnie like 4 or 5 times now. But I would be Ratatouille. There's more to the experience in Ratatouille. Mickey and Minnie isn't the 4D experience.
Okay.
And there were moments where the 4D was like, even though you knew it was coming, it was just so pleasurable and enjoyable to have that 4D moment where you're like, yep, I'm really here. Cool.
Well, that is awesome. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight and going over your experience. It's great to have that that specific experience and perspective that you had. So I really appreciate you guys joining us.
No problem.
Glad to be here. Glad to give some intel out there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And everybody out there, if you've ridden Ratatouille's, the Ratatouille ride, Ratatouille's Great Adventure, I can't even.
I blew it at the beginning, so I guess it's your turn. But Remy's
Exactly,
Ratatouille
yeah.
Adventure.
Exactly. Yes. So Remy's Ratatouille Adventures. Let us know on our Facebook and let us know if you liked it, if you didn't like it, what you thought could have been improved, what you loved, if the crepes were up to your standard.
Yeah, come on out on Facebook and let us know. As you guys know, every week, Miles from Main Street podcast community and group and on our page. So definitely come out and let us know what you're experiencing out there.
Cool. And that's all we got for you guys tonight. We'll see you next time on Miles from Main Street.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, please rate us on iTunes and subscribe. Email us at milesfrommainstreetpodcast@gmail.com with any thoughts and visit us on Facebook under Miles from Main Street. We'll be bringing more to you weekly and look forward to talking to you then.
Until next week, remember,
some live close,
but most of us don't.
So let's talk about it.